Alright folks, we've created the tutu dress. It looks really cool. I'm going to be able to show you the bustle effect or the little tail effect better in the photos. For some reason, it is just not showing up for me in the video. So I'll make sure that I include a lot of photos at the end of the video. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cover up the seam. Now this is optional. Do with it as you will, but for our purposes we're going to take a piece of turquoise ribbon. It matches the tutu crocheted top, and we're going to put it on the inside so when we use our embellishments it will not touch the skin. Okay, and this is like satin, so it feels nice and soft against the skin. If you've got satin fabric or you've got some leftover fabric that won't really show and it'll be soft on the skin, you can use that. Or like we did, you can use a 1.5 inch ribbon. Make sure you heat seal it. Again, I want to share with you, I bought these, I buy them in bulk almost at the Dollar Tree or Dollar Store, whatever the name is. You know what I'm talking about, the dollar stores. Now, if you have kids, make sure you have a safe place to put these in particular. They cost $1. They don't have a child proof on it, which is great when you have a lot of heat sealing to do, but not so good if you can't put it up somewhere safe. You can leave some sticking out, or you can have it all inside, totally up to you. Now I kind of have some sticking out because then I can glue this over top, overlapping, and then if there's an embellishment I want to put right here, I can, and I don't have to worry about it getting on the skin of who's wearing this. If you have some tweezers, great time to pull them out, only because sometimes you need just a little adjustment and it's hard to maneuver this through the crocheted holes with your fingers. I have fat fingers, so it's hard to adjust it without the tweezers. Peacock style feathers. Okay. Paper Mart has them, and I will say this about Paper Mart. They do seem a little bit pricier than some places, but they stand behind their products, and if you have any problems, I have never had an issue with customer service or having to send something back, anything like that. And to me, sometimes that's worth a little extra money. And their tulle and their ribbon and all of their supplies are top-notch that I've tried. And if I found anything wrong, they're quick to replace or to assist me in any way that they can. So I have to give them kudos for that. Alright, we can just use this part, the eye part, I think that's what they call this, or you can use more, like that much or that much. Basically, you just don't want it to be where, you see how this really shows, this shows a lot. You don't want to use that part. If you have those silicone finger gloves, perfect time to use them. This is going to be a little messy, but it's not that bad. And I'm just going to take a look and see if I like it like this. These aren't very big. This part, sorry, I know you couldn't see, but what I'm going to do is I am going to put these together like so, okay, have them where they fan out, but to make sure that I'm not burning the crap out of myself, I'm going to place one at a time. I'm going to put my glue, I'm just going to put a dab, I'm not going to put a whole bunch, okay, and I'm putting it in there. And I can trim off this extra after the glue sets. Be careful if you have a glue gun that likes to let glue go out when you're not ready. That happens to me quite a bit. Just hold it long enough for it to start to set, then you can let it be. Now, to worry less about my glue, one of the things that I'm going to do as well is I'm going to put a center stone right in the back. And that's really going to make it all stay. Okay? This is where long nails come in handy for me when I don't have my silicone finger gloves, because I can use my nail instead of my finger. Okay, so I'm going to let that set for a moment. Cut me a few more eyes. Alright, so we are continuing with creating our back piece. And I just think that it's going to need a rhinestone to really make sure it stays. So I'm going to take one of my oversized rhinestones . After you put your dab of glue, make sure that you press firmly and let it adhere. I'm going to use 2. There we go.
Wish would have taken him right back to his hobbit hole without trouble. Yet there is little to tell about their stay.
Take your ribbon.
The master of the house was an elf friend, one of those people whose fathers came into the strange stories before the beginning of history. The wars of the evil goblins and the elves and the first.
Leave a good little amount out.
In those
Okay.
days of our tale,
Do that for each
there
side.
were some people who had both elves and heroes of the North for ancestors. And Elrond, the master of the house, was the important, as you will see, if we ever get to the end of it. His house was perfect.
Make sure you heat seal. I heat sealed this, but apparently I didn't do it very well, so I'm going to go ahead and do it again. Better safe than sorry, right? And this is what we're going to do. We're going to glue it and we're going to put it together just like that. You see?
The ponies as well as in their homes. Their bags were filled with food and provisions light to carry but strong to bring them over the mountain passes. Their plans were improved with the best advice. So the time came to Midsummer Eve, and they were to go on again with the early sun on Midsummer morning.
Bring it together. Now press firmly. You can always add more glue, but this way you haven't made a big mess and you've lined it up as closely together as possible. And do that on the other side as well.
What do they say? Stand by the great stove when the sun with the last light of Dooling's day will shine upon the keyhole.
One thing too, the craft iron is great. It's not as hot as, you know, your real hot setting on your regular iron. But one thing that I like is that when your hot glue does dry pretty quickly and you've got a mess, all you have to do is run it across a few times and you can kind of fix it. You can smooth it out. You know how sometimes you get bumps? Now, we got that done, and I'm lucky because I've got this, but you can take a piece of heavy cloth, put it underneath. I'm going to take some leftover fabric, and I like this because this is that from jeans, and I'll put this here so I don't make a mess on my expensive mannequin, okay, and I'm just going to add a line of our fancy rhinestones. Now, I say fancy because these are a little pricey, but we're just going to add just a bit. So I've cut me 2 pieces. Now this one has the hot fix on the back. Pretty awesome. Less work. Now if you're using a bigger size iron, one of the things that you want to make sure to do is go ahead and put some type of material over top of it. But for us, this is a craft iron and it doesn't get near as hot. So if I put anything over this, I'm not going to penetrate through to the hot glue, the hot fix glue.
The passages there were crossed and tangled in all directions, but the goblins knew their way as well as you to the nearest post office.
As you're viewing the photos, you'll notice that on the front of the crochet top we have some more feathers and rhinestone mesh. Unfortunately, I lost that video somehow. I don't know what happened. But real quick, I used some gold satin leftover fabric. And then on top of that, I put a square piece of the gold diamond mesh. Now this is different from the ones that we did on the straps. This does not have the adhesive backing, so we add the hot glue in lines. Attach it and make sure that it adheres securely. We make that big square of gold satin so that it doesn't affect the skin. It's soft and smooth. And then it also helps with keeping that mesh on there. And then lastly, we added our peacock feathers just like we did in the back, and then added a gemstone center to make sure that they stay secure with hot glue. Really sorry about that, folks. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Remember, anything you create is going to be fantastic. Why? Because you took the time to create it. From my family to yours, have a very blessed day.